from my cold, dead hands.
Hey guys, Eric in Tucson again, and fourth or fifth video I've done here in my new apartment, and I'm realizing it's a very dull background. So my apologies for that, and I'll work on something in the future. Wanted to show you the Glock Trigger job. Basically, this is kind of a popular modification. It's the NY1. Some guys want to do the 3.5 pound connector. The only way you should ever even consider that is if you're combining it with that spring right there. Olive drab. It's an 8-pound spring. Basically, your Glock comes stock with about a 5.5 pound trigger pull. It comes with the trigger pull that is recommended for carry. If you make it lighter, it's actually more dangerous, guys. Don't do that. But the 3.5 pound connector does get the okay from Glock for carry use, and this is the only way you should use a 3.5 pound connector with that NY1 spring. Now, some guys might say it's a 4.5 pound connector. It's the exact same part. Basically, somewhere on the connector there's going to be a minus symbol. It got rebranded based on if you pulled the trigger at the bottom versus the middle, kind of changed the felt pull weight. It's the exact same part though. So anyway, this is in response to all the people who want me to do a detail strip. There are already far better detail strips out there. I wanted to try and show you something a little bit more interesting and practical. Let's get going. Now, I don't have an armorer's block. I use a roll of tape. That way, when I punch the pins, it just captures right there in the roll. Doesn't really matter which direction you punch the pins out. I have to punch them out that way because when I dragged it behind the truck, I screwed up the plastic. So it only goes out one direction now. When you go to remove the hammer pin, you might need to wiggle that catch there a little bit, your slide stop. It'll catch on there. And there's that. You see the little wire spring. Once you got that out, just pry out your locking block. Make sure the rails go forward when you go to reassemble that. And then we also need to punch out that rear pin right there. From there, you just pull out the assembly. Set the frame to the side. All we're going to be working on is this. And actually, I got to kind of turn this around. I apologize, being right-handed. Well, let's try it this way. Just pull it forward and kind of twist it out. There. And disconnect the trigger and the bar. This is all we're working on. Now, some people say to get a something flat like a screwdriver, pocket knife, punch that out. It's unnecessary if you've got a Glock tool. You just go on the opposite side right here and punch it. And you can see it comes right out. Removing this spring takes a little bit of work. So I'm actually going to blab a bit and just try and work on this. I apologize. This is one of those things I can't see and show you at the same time. It's because of the camera setup. But while I'm working on this, might as well thank all my new YouTube subscribers, especially considering I don't really do the YouTube videos all that much. I'm usually doing the handgun podcast. So thank you. All right, I managed to get that out. Let's make this so I can actually see the screen. So the first thing we're going to do is drop in the new connector. Now, if you look, you've gotten an arc here. Well, you've got the same thing on the spring, okay? It's kind of weird seeing it photo reversed, but when you drop it in, it's pretty easy to know you got it in there correctly because there'll be a little notch right there. And as you look down, see how it tees. Might need more light, but basically it holds flat against there. So it should look something like that for you. Let me make a recommendation that if you're going to do this modification, this is a Lone Wolf Distributors part. You can see It's a little bit thinner there on the sides. I recommend that you only use Glock parts. I'm just going to do this so that I can show you the modification there on the block. See that how it's cut there. So this only goes in one way. Slides in there. And there you can see that reduction where it gets thinner in the middle. The reason I recommend only using Glock parts is, God forbid you ever have to use this in a self-defense shooting, it would be really good to have only manufacturer authorized parts in there, manufacturer made, so it's in a factory condition. The other upside is doing that will allow you to continue to compete in stuff like the GSSF, Glock Shooting Sports Foundation, I believe is what that stands for. Anyway, when you get it in there, it's kind of odd, but that's what you're going to be looking for. You're going to have that flat crossbar going on top of the spring. I will be perfectly honest, I know that that works because I've shot it, done about 300 rounds with this trigger modification in there. I don't know why it works. It seems odd to me that upward pressure rather than forward pressure on the trigger, but whatever. We're good to go. And you just start dropping it back in. Most of the parts are going to click right in. It's very easy. Keep your pins straight, but if not, it's pretty easy to know which ones go where. The plain one, kind of plasticky looking one, is the one that goes right in there, in your grip frame. Next, we're going to put the locking block back in because that's the way that I saw on another YouTube video. It says it's first thing out, first thing back in, along with the locking block pin. The locking block pin is going to have like those dumbbell edges on either side. It gets just a little bit larger. So, and what I do to help drive that in is I use the back of the Glock Armorer's tool and just press. It kind of clicks in. Right there at the end. Slides in, easy peasy. Okay. Now, you want to get your slide stop. It's going to fit in those slots. Okay, it'll basically just click right into place. You won't have to work with it too hard. But because it's got that wire spring on there, it is going to be fighting with you. And you've got that one. Let's hold it up against the background of my shirt so you can see. It's got those slots on there. That's your trigger pin. Slide it in, and then just kind of wiggle your trigger a little bit. There, it just went in most of the way. And then once you've got it in there, what I do is I turn it around here and press with my thumb. And then I kind of put one finger here and pull up on the magazine, or the part that catches on the follower. Just wiggle that in there. That's it. Then I'm just going to use the tool to press it in even. That's it. It's all back together. Let's go ahead and put the slide on. And obviously you can see it's empty since we just reassembled it. There we go. Trigger pull is just a little bit heavier, but it's also a little bit more consistent. It's not quite as stagey feeling. You can still feel where different surfaces engage. It kind of catches and grows. It's still a little stagey, stacking, but not quite as bad. It's not the wide levels of variance. Anyhow, I need to end this video pretty quick here because we're running out of time. Hope this is showing you something new and interesting, and you guys take care. Be safe.